Okay, so a friend of mine got me hooked on 3% for a while. I haven't finished the last season that they have on here yet. One of the reasons I haven't finished it is I like to do projects while I'm watching shows, and this one I have to read the subtitles, and I don't mind reading subtitles. I just obviously can't do it while I'm doing projects. So it's one that I'll get back to, but very intriguing. I believe it's is it Portuguese? I think, something like that. It's just a really good show. Kind of trippy, but not so trippy that it's annoying. The first season, it starts off with these kids having to go through this selection process, and they go through this maze, and then they're selected from there, and a certain amount of people, as in 3% of people, go to this island that's supposed to be like a utopia. And of course it's much more complicated than that, and they get involved with what's, the psychological and the background and everything. It's a good story, dystopia kind of thing, and very, very good acting. I recommend it. Patriot Act. I actually watched more Patriot Act on YouTube than I do on Netflix, because I like to listen to things when I'm working or in the car driving around. So I'll put on like Jason Oliver or Trevor Noah, or I'll put on Patriot Act. I think his name's Hassan. Anyways, I kind of like the way Trevor Noah and Jason Oliver do the news better, but this guy, he is actually really good. And he really does him and his team do deep dives, and they really find out what's going on behind the scenes and a lot of stuff. And when I listen to him, I get all like kind of excited. I gotta go tell somebody what I learned. So either on Netflix, or you can look up his show and on YouTube and watch it. And it is fun to watch, because he will show you scenes of stuff, but he's also, you can just listen to him too. So very informative. He throws in comedy, not always my type of funny, but I still get a lot out of the show. Okay, if you haven't watched Queer Eye yet, oh, come on. You gotta watch Queer Eye. This is if you need to feel good and you're tired of the bad news and waking up and looking at your phone and seeing more bad news. Sit down for a minute, take a deep breath, and watch Queer Eye, because it's always so uplifting and like a breath of fresh air. When it's really hot and then a cool breeze goes by, that is this show. Every time I watch it, I just almost start laughing and crying with happiness by the end of it. So I think, well, they're not going to do it every time, and yeah, they do it every time. They're just amazing, and I really enjoy it. These guys really help people not just looking better and not just living better, but also the way they think. It's really the whole picture. So I highly recommend that, especially right now. You really need good news. So here we are. My friend got me hooked on dope. I just had to say that. I'm not on dope. The show. She got me hooked on the show Dope. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Okay. Anyways, this is a documentary. It's actually really good. They follow around the law enforcement, and they also follow around the people who are involved in the drug trade and distribution and so forth. And it's very enlightening. I think it's actually a show that a lot of people probably should watch. I think it's important to understand what's really going on to be informed. And even though this is bad, I mean, not the show, but you know, that doing these drugs and dealing the drugs is dangerous and deadly and bad, sometimes it helps to understand why people do it. There's a lot of psychopaths involved, but there's also people who are, well, I'm just going to say kind of born into it. And there's people who have been able to get out, but you'll get an idea why there's people who can't, who just simply can't get out. And then on the police side, what they go through is very interesting, and the tactics they try to use. It's just very enlightening, and it's a good show. All right. Okay, so Dark. I haven't watched it in a while. I need to get back to it eventually. When I just kind of watch stuff when I'm in the mood. But it's I believe it's a foreign film, if I remember right. And yeah, it's a foreign film. And really good actors though. And it's kind of a back and forth in time kind of thing. But I would call it more of a psychological thriller. And so it's one of those where you try to keep track of which part of time you're actually in at the moment. And so if you like psychological thrillers, you don't mind that it's a foreign film, so it's dubbed. It's pretty interesting. I don't know where they're going with it yet, but we'll see. Okay, another one on Netflix that I just recently started watching that's a series is Slasher. This is not for children because it is definitely blood and guts and hacking and slashing. However, I was surprised that they have some pretty deep stuff in there. They throw in some storylines that are pretty important for a slasher movie. Like, for instance, there is a girl that's Muslim, and whenever something bad happens, there's some kids at school that blame her because she's the Muslim, so she must have committed this horrible act. And so they show that very unfair side, the bullying. And it's not just her and being a Muslim, but there's other people that are targeted because of what they are. And so that part is really interesting. I don't know where they're going with it. And I don't know who the slasher is yet. I've only watched a couple, maybe about 3 episodes. So if you don't like blood and gore, do not watch Slasher. Alright, so that's that one. So Eurovision was a lot of fun. And of course, it's a Will Ferrell movie, so you know it's gonna be a cringy movie. However, it wasn't as cringy as some of his other movies. What I mean by that is that the cringy moments are shorter lived than usual, which I appreciated, because I actually am not a big fan, because I'm not really big on the whole cringy thing. But this was just a lot of fun. And if you like musicals, you might really like this. I don't think it's listed under musical, but they have some really great musical scores. Not quite at the middle point. There's a scene where they're all at a party and all kinds of people are singing, and it's super fun. Oh, it's just a load of fun. I could probably rewatch that scene over and over again. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. The comedy is great, the storyline is really sweet, and the music is super fun. An all-star cast. Pierce Brosnan's in it, and let's see here. Of course, Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, those are the stars. Dan Stevens, I just recently saw him in a really weird movie. He's adorable though. And then, what's his face? The host. Oh yeah, I did want to say Demi Lovato's in it, and fan or not, actually got a pretty cool part in this. It's pretty fun. And oh, Graham Norton, he's in it as well. Anyways, really talented cast of stars. And I don't recognize all these names, but pretty sure they're all super talented and probably well known. I just don't know everybody. Alright, so you might want to check that one out. It's a lot of fun.